Looking for a way to invest in Black women's mental health? Join the Abundance Collective, the Loveland Foundation's community of passionate monthly donors helping us show up month after month, session after session, with the love and resources our communities deserve. Intergenerational healing takes time, and with our monthly donors, we have a steady stream of support to help our seeds of healing grow. Monthly donations cover the cost of therapy for Black women and non-binary individuals, and fund programming to empower BIPOC therapists. Start a monthly donation to join the Abundance Collective. Visit thelovefoundation.org/abundance. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unfolding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. I'm your host, Rachel Keener, and today I'm excited, a little nervous, but also just really overwhelmed with joy and gratitude to be joined with Sara Bareilles. You may know her through her music, her voice, her words, her acting, Broadway hit Waitress, Girls Five Eva, Grammy Award winning star artist. But she's here today because of how she shows up, and shows up for us, and shows up through honesty and vulnerability and with love and just making us feel a bit more seen. So yeah, I'm just excited. So Sara, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good, Rachel. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you for having me in this conversation.
Yeah, no, thank you. Transparently, I did not know you knew about us. I did not know you knew anything about the Loveland Foundation. Last year, we were preparing for the election, and we had two assets ready. One was if Kamala won, and one is if she lost. And we were really hoping we would use the ones that she won in celebratory mood. Yeah, deep breath.
Totally.
And when she lost, I remember just feeling this wave of just anxiety and anticipatory grief in the way of just it's scary, and trying to figure out who's going to still rock with us, who's going to still support us. And I remember someone on our team was Sara Bareilles wants to support. And I was like, Sara Bareilles knows who we are. And I was very caught off guard, but you showed up, you did our post for us, and you honestly got us a lot of recognition and donations. And really my whole goal is to make the Loveland Foundation a household name, let people know who we are and what we do and who we're here to support, and really just taking care of Black women and non-binary individuals and letting them know they are safe and they are seen. And by you showing up in that space really means a lot, because we have to do with everyone, So yeah, I'm just curious, how did you find out about the Loveland Foundation, and what about our mission stood out to you?
Well, because I'm someone who has struggled with my own mental health, severely since my early 20s. It's been a huge part of my mission in my activism to try to destigmatize all the different ways and resources that are needed to support our own self-care and our mental health. And specifically, post-election, I think I shared in that anticipatory grief that you were talking about. But there was something especially about the Black women in my life where it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. And so I felt like the work that you're already doing, this is what I think our jobs as allies and friends of movements is to, how do we help just amplify messages that are being made and created for communities we love and want to lift up, and add resources if that's what we have to add, or add visibility or conversation, or just to help bring oxygen to that conversation around mental health. And especially, I could just feel it for a lot of my friends, my Black female friends in particular, where I just was like, this is a deep moment for, these people that I love so much. So just, it felt like one way to step into what I hope I'm doing well as an ally, but, continuing to try to just get in where I fit in and help support and follow your lead,
Yeah. No, I love that you said that, because there's no rule book or guide on how to be an ally or how to lead a protest or do a revolution. You kind of just have to show up, and you have to do what you can in that moment and meet that moment, and try to meet the needs of people who need support and need help. And we're in a time where a lot of people need help and need support. And I'm really learning that, like, you can't do anything in this world alone. Like, you have to be able to have
Oh,
people in your corner, by your side, going through life. Like, just as important as like we talk about self-love, self-care, doing that maintenance in self. And I think like people get so focused on the self that they forget that like it's a whole network of community, family, friends, chosen family, like random
totally.
people on the street, like just like moments of connection that really like ground us in that human experience. And
I couldn't agree more. It feels like the single most important lesson of my 40s. I'm 45, and it's I think we get taught to be so self-sufficient. And especially I think as women in general, there's we do a lot to sort of build ourselves up so we can s- withstand so many of the challenges that I think come our way naturally. But I do think that community, like real in-person community, is one of the most miraculous gifts of this plane of existence. I think it's like the medicine. We are the medicine for each other. And what I mean by that is like building community, deep, real friendship and connection. And that is like the lesson of this lifetime. That actually the whole time that we were all trying to build our brand and build an empire and whatever is like, we missed the boat. That wasn't it at all. And we're going to get off this ride and be in wherever we go to and be like, oh shit, I didn't get that one right. Yeah.
the most obvious answer, like,
Yeah.
I have a nephew now, and, like, it's so interesting to see how his mind is working and, like, how he's, like, taking in everything, and the joy he feels from just, like, having people around and, like, making those connections. It's like, this is really the basis of it. Like, we're getting so far away from the plot of just, like, getting so mad and thinking about like, oh, if we do this, we do this, or like chasing materialistic things or chasing power or greed or appeasing to like things that don't really serve our
Yeah.
heart or our soul, like we lose that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that also ties into like who you are as a person and an artist, like using music to connect people. Like I think that's such a beautiful thing and a beautiful gift. And so I guess like how do you like your mental health journey? I know you said you like experienced anxiety in your early 20s and like how that interweave into, like, your music and, like, how you show up through your art.
I think I think my songwriting kind of started as an extension of my journaling. I've been keeping, just my own personal journal since I was probably 10 or 11 years old. So I have like stacks and stacks of books. And it's sort of funny to when I go back and kind of peruse through the themes of my life, of the things I'm like worried about haven't changed that much. It's like, who do I
Right.
have a crush on? What do I look like? It's like those kinds of anxieties. Well, fear and anxiety being major themes. And I think ultimately when I kind of scroll out, it's a fear of not belonging, that I like don't, where do I fit? And who do I trust? Who will love me if I am fill in the blank? Not this enough, not that enough. And I think the songwriting became a place to sort of put all of that fear and anxiety and hopefulness and snarkiness. Like it just became the vessel for a lot of my own sort of contemplative processing. And the gift that music continues to give me is this gift we're talking about, the gift of connection, that I saw that sharing all of my most vulnerable feelings and worries and fears and pain were the times I could be the most courageous and share the scariest thing, were the times the song connected the most. So it was the times I felt the most unlovable, the most alone, the most misunderstood. If I could manage to put that somewhere where someone else could receive it, that's where the connection came from. And that has been one of the great lessons of my life as an artist, is that the sharing of the vulnerability, which I think there is a lot of conversation around that. I just think sometimes people don't know where to start. They don't know how to begin because it is so terrifying. Because what if you're rejected?
It's so scary.
Fucking awful.
It's
Yeah. Yes.
I I always thought like, "Oh, I'm such a vulnerable person. I'm so open. I'm an open book." And then, like, I was put in a situation where, like, I realized I have, like, so many walls of, like, "Oh, I could let you think I'm being vulnerable,
Yes.
but, like, I'm not getting anything from that connection because, like, I'm so guarded and, like, I'm masking in a sense of, like, who I am to, like, match who I think you want me to be, and that doesn't allow for that true connection that you were talking about." And
Totally.
it's me I just turned 30, and I'm still very much learning this. I'm still very much trying to apply this of how to, like, truly be vulnerable, and, like,
Mm.
it's some of the scariest things that I have to do is just like, "Okay, like, Rachel, like, you know how you're feeling," or maybe sometimes I don't, but I know how to, like, try to, like, know who I feel safe around
Mm.
to, like, practice that vulnerability with until it becomes a tool that I could use in many situations, like, and, like, even in this role of, like, podcasting, I was terrified when they said, "Oh, this is part of your job now." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And, like, having to show up in spaces where I have to, like, really just, like, let my guard down and tell people how I'm feeling and, like, connect with them on how they're feeling. But there's this, like there's such magic feeling when you just connect and you're
Mm.
able to share souls and, like, share, like, your truest self with someone, and I feel like anything worth that type of reward requires risk and requires, like, you overcoming those fears. And so, here's me just actively facing those fears because
Totally.
I have a huge fear of being stagnant, and I have a huge fear of being, like,
Are you a
alone.
Sagittarius?
No, rising.
I'm a Sag, and I'm, like, terrified of anything staying the same.
I was, when I was prepping for the podcast, I was like, "Oh, she's born December 7th, she's a Sagittarius, we're gonna get along." Like, 'cause I'm a Leo, but,
Oh,
like
yes.
yeah, on fires. But, no, there's this want to make sure that I'm always, like, learning, experiencing, and having adventure, but also, like, having someone to do it with and having,
Yeah.
like enjoying myself in that process of, like, not feeling like, the message I keep getting is, like, the only person holding you back is yourself, and, like, the only
Mhm.
person holding well, there's other things holding you back, but, like, in the deep grand scheme of things, like, the power of just, like, choosing like, you have the power to choose how vulnerable you can be and who you
Yeah.
can connect with, and that is such a beautiful gift, so, no, I
I have
appreciate
a question. Have you found that it has just even since beginning the podcast, does it get easier? Is it getting easier?
Literally, I used to have this routine where I drank a CBD tea to calm my nerves from shaking before every podcast, and now I feel excited. I feel like I am like, "Ooh, what do I get to learn about this person today?" And, like,
Mhm.
what do I get to, like, learn about myself today? And, like, taking away, like, this fear of, like, "Oh, is my voice sound weird? Do I look weird? Am I, like, I'm being recorded right now? Who's
Yeah.
gonna hear this and think about what of me?" And I kinda just, like, let it go, because it's
Mhm.
so exhausting to think about all the things that could go wrong all the time.
Right. All the
You
time.
know?
Yeah.
And my friend, she sent me this beautiful message. She was like, "You know how you overthink everything? Like, what if you overthink what could be good?" You know? And that power, that, like, mindset shift of, like, how can I, like, because I could overthink. I if it was a sport, I would be top
Mm.
tier, you know? But it's just, like, I want to be able to show up in a space where I am fully myself, and I'm so happy with that. Like, that's
Mm.
my every time I'm in a space, and I feel like this opportunity of podcasting has allowed me to do so, and I see that as a gift now. At first, I was like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna get through this?" Like,
Right.
you know, I'm just like, "Oh, like, this is so good for me," even though it scares me. Then we go back to vulnerability. Like, you have to do
Totally.
things you. So,
I love that. I love thinking about vulnerability as like a practice, like
mhm,
that it's something you're just practicing because I do think, like we're talking about, sometimes people don't know where to begin and that it can just sometimes start small. And it's just offering a little bit more truth. Just like, what if I just feather in just a little bit of what feels closer and like, how close can I stay to myself in my connection with you? And that feels like it's not a straight line and we don't get it right all the time. And we, you know, it's, but it's a practice. And I do think it's like something you cultivate, that it doesn't feel like it requires as much effort once it's been the place you come back to. Is like, how do I not abandon myself and stay in connection? Like that is just, it's not always easy to do, but I do think it is possible. It's not comfortable all the time, but it is possible. And I do think, to your point, that it's more rewarding.
yeah. I wish it was more comfortable, but I also
I know.
feel the fear of I never want to be the person that's betraying myself. I feel
Mhm.
like as women, as a Black woman, as there's so many things stacked against you, and I don't wanna be the person who's stacked against myself. Like, I want to be
Yeah.
always, like, championing myself, and that's hard, I feel like we all have our things, but it's just also important to, like you said, like, find the people that you connect with and that idea of connection, and it wasn't until I experienced, like, grief and losing my father that, like, I realized how important connection was and
Mm.
how important, like, having people who love and care about you and truly see you, or at least are curious enough to try to see you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part is, like, making the effort to see who you are, that I realize, like, this is, like, something that I hold very c when I look for connections and I look for people who are, like, I want in my life, I'm like, "How how will you fit?" Because, like, how will, like, we fit together in the sense of, like,
Mm.
what is was, like, that magic, like, kind of thing that's holding us together, and that usually is, like, someone who can truly see you and be there for you and
Yeah.
show up for you in that way. But I know you have an album coming out that's really focused on, like, how you've been able to turn your experience with grief into love, and
Mm.
I think that's just so beautiful of, like at least in my own journey, I feel like it's made me such a more appreciative and grateful person of, like,
Mm.
what the people who matter and, like, how I show up for people, making sure that, like, if anyone's in my life, they know that I care about them, and I know that they care about me. So, yeah, I love
Mm.
that people do that through art, honestly, and you're able to do that through music, and I just wanna hear a little bit more about that and what your experience.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking a lot about grief over the last 5 years, genuinely. But it's really since the pandemic, and I have a sort of, like, fledgling theory that part of what we are going through culturally, politically, globally is, like, this massive well of unprocessed grief, and it's such, like, a masterful distortionist. It creates paranoia, it creates mistrust. It can be this incredible, tenderizing, softening, awesome experience too. Like grief is so multifaceted. That has just been like an extraordinary experience to go through. So, I, like so many people, went through the pandemic and had a pretty severe mental health dip. I've always, been managing anxiety and depression kind of as like sisters that like crop up for me. And I've had a lot of self care tactics that stayed in play: exercise, meditation, therapy, you know, sharing with friends, journaling. But during the pandemic was the first time that I felt like I was in a well of grief or depression and anxiety that I really couldn't get out of. I started medication for the first time. I got on Lexapro, not because I wanted to. I was kicking and screaming. I did not want to believe that I needed this kind of support. I talk about it really openly because it has been a life-changing experience for me and given me back so much of myself. I think I felt that my experience with medication would be some kind of suppressant, that I would feel that there was a veil between me and my deepest, truest parts, which are the things that I've really come to sort of love and appreciate my own melancholy. It's a big part of why I'm a writer. But I couldn't find the surface. I could not catch a breath. So, my Lexapro is a really good friend of mine at this point, and I just feel really grateful for that support. But in 2020, I lost one of my best friends to cancer, and a very dear friend named Chad, who worked with me for many years, and we met in college. And then in 2024, I lost another best friend to cancer, my friend Gavin. And this album is the first music that I have written since the pandemic. So it's been a lot of processing of loss of friendship and loss of that chosen family you're talking about. And grieving the world, grieving the way it feels to be an American, grieving the way it feels to be a woman in the world, grieving just so much to observe and have big feelings about. So I thankfully have this outlet, and my hope is that there will be some comfort and solace offered to other people, because I sort of put it all into the record. I played some of it for my record label, and I was like, wow, this record's really just a lot about grief. And the president of my label, who I love, Sylvia Rohn, she was like, and hope, right? I'm like, yeah, I mean, hope. But also, it's just, I think that might be a little bit part of this challenge, is that we don't rush ourselves through what comes before that, because I think there really is a lot of holding that the grief needs to, that the sadness needs to, that we don't really get to heal something until we really understand it. And so that's what this kind of journey has been about. And I'm really proud of the record. I'm producing it myself, and I haven't made a record in a lot of years, haven't toured in a long time. So yeah, I feel really proud and excited to share the music.
I'm really proud of you. I think that's so exciting
Thanks.
and so beautiful. And I'm excited because I feel like so many people are holding this grief, and they've been holding it for 5 years, and
Mhm.
there's nowhere to put it,
Mhm.
and there's nowhere to express it sometimes. And I think, like what you said, I feel like I was talking to my sister about this. I was like, things feel pretty bad right now, right? Like, I'm not crazy, right? Like, things feel like
Yeah.
really like scary, and
Yeah.
things feel very like, I don't know. Like, I'm worried. I'm concerned. I'm like scared, in a sense of
Yeah.
like, there's something more that's happening. And when you said,
Mhm.
like, it's grief, I'm like, "Oh, that kinda hit," 'cause I was like, "Yeah, it feels like that." It feels very much like this, like, anger is
Mhm.
I feel like grief, like you said, there's so many awesome sides of it. I've honestly had such a beautiful, loving grief journey, but I know that wasn't possible without therapy, without family, without friends, without connection, without, like, that inner work, and that I'm so grateful that I had tools and resources to do that, but a lot of people do not have those tools and
Totally.
resources, hence why we do the work that we do. But there's something about, like, grief can get really dangerous and really scary,
Yeah.
and I feel like by you, similar to what we talked about earlier, being your most vulnerable, truest self and what you've been feeling and holding for the past 5 years, and, like, how you've been able to, like, move through it and get through it, I'm excited for some healing. I'm excited for this, like, I say light energy in a sense of, like, grief could be heavy, and that's totally fine, that's accepted, that's wanted, honestly. We have to love it for what it is, but I think it needs to be named, and I think it
Yeah.
needs to be, like you said, like, bask and, like, sit in it for a second, because I think we're so quick. I remember after my dad passed away, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna give myself a year. If I don't feel better by a year, I'll figure out what's going on."
Mm.
And it was a year, and I was still, like, just, like, oof, super just, like, s like, just depressed, you know,
Mhm.
and just feeling just so sad and, like, broken by it, and I was just like, "It's been a year, like, come on, like, what's going on?"
Mm.
And then, like, I was like, "Oh, like, I should go talk to somebody about this." And so
Mm.
that's the start of my therapy journey, and it was like, "Oh, it's not just grieving this, you're grieving, like, the life you thought you had, like, you're grieving the future you're expecting, you're grieving, like, the unanswered questions you're having," and, like, I was also never truly able to express that anger I was feeling, and that anger was just manifesting itself into sadness, because that's just how I learned how to do it. And it wasn't until, and I'm still practicing how to be more angry and how to be more, like, free in that way, but it wasn't without, like, sitting with it for a second and, like,
Yeah.
understanding that it's not something I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, I'll be over it," like, there's no time limit on it,
Yeah.
there's time on just, like, "You'll feel better by this time, you'll be good," so
Oh, yeah.
having places and people and music. I don't journal. I've tried multiple times. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard for me to get it. But what I did start doing was taking playlists as journals. So each month I'll have a playlist, and I'll
I love
journal the
that.
songs through it that, like, have been, like, connecting me and, like, getting me through it. And then I'll, like, write a note about how I've been feeling that month. So I look back on it And so I'll look back on the music I was listening to, I was like, "Oh, wow, like, that's how I was feeling," you know? And so I'm so excited for you to release music in a way that, like, people are able to see themselves and express themselves in ways that they may not able to for themselves. So,
I
yeah.
love that idea of making like a playlist journal. That's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, there's no, like you've already said, like there's no one way, there's no right answer. I think everyone comes to their own like process and self expression, however it fits best on you. But yeah, I think I didn't have a lot of people I trusted with my truest truths as a kid. So I got into this pattern of just like, I'll just save this for myself. I'll write letters. I have so many letters written to people that I never sent, like all those honest conversations that I never had, and that's what I'm sort of practicing now is just like, how do I tease out that truth into more spaces? And yeah, I think I have learned more from this experience of grief than I've learned from so many other things in my life. I have been so surprised by it. And my experience of it is that it really comes in waves, that it just is like very shapeshifty. It keeps changing. Um, but that mostly when I'm really paying close attention, it's just so intertwined with love. Like what we grieve is what we love the most. And so even when we think about what's happening in our country and politically, it's like, wait, there's something, the fear of losing something is is a part of what is folded into this grief. And if we could, how, I just, I hope there is room to like cultivate more vulnerability and more just honesty in all of it. And so, yeah, my little offering is my little offering, but I'm just, yeah, I share those feelings of just like, holy shit, what are we doing here?
Mhm, mhm. I, by default, am an optimist, uh, and
I
I
love that about you.
Thank you. It could be, some people say it's delusional, but I truly, like I feel like if I give myself trust me, I give myself space to be dark, and it's usually when I'm by myself, and,
Mhm.
like, the most, like, core center part about me is, like, my darkness, but I feel like I use it in the sense to, like, charge my light, if that makes sense, and, like, "Okay,
Yeah.
this is not all bad," like,
Yes.
there's no point if there's no joy. There's no point if there's no love. There's no point like, this can't all be what it's cracked up to be,
Yeah.
There has to be something more, like, that just is, like that's what's keeping me alive, honestly, is this idea that it's not all bad, and I just have to, like, ground myself in that, and as fearful as I am, as scared as I am, I'm also, like, seeing people come together,
Mhm.
having conversations with you. I'm talking to friends. I'm feeling like I have people who, like, I can lean on and talk to about things and, like, just, like, figure out how to adult and how to be alive in this time,
Yeah.
and just, like, show up in a way and, like, really, like, know that everything does have impact, and, like, every, like,
Yeah.
little thing you may say, but, like, there is some good that's coming, and I have to hold on to that and believe that that is, like, what's gonna and then the sense of, like, yes, there is real things happening too that we have to be aware of and we have to, like, acknowledge and sit with. But I truly think that, like, I'm just, like, trying to hold on to the hope and hold on to
I'm with you. I
you know
think that's right.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I
Yeah.
read this quote that I can't remember where I read it or who said it, but good luck, internet. We'll find it. But but essentially, I'm probably butchering it, but essentially it's just that the natural world wants equilibrium. It does what it needs to do to find equilibrium. That is the state of being of this planet we're on, and we are one species in the natural world. So like, I think it's hard for humans to remember that we fit into this complex system of a lot of other things that are going on. And I mean, my personal opinion is just like our ego is just like needs to be checked right now. And the humility that's available to us is really, another kind of medicine like that, like to be humbled, I think, in our place in this, in the global ecosystem. Yes, within for each other, but also in the natural world. Like I'm in upstate New York right now, and we got a little place up here, and I find that coming up here because it's so embedded in nature is really soothing for my adrenal system, for like the panic button just feels a little harder to find up here. It's just like there is space, and the natural order of things wants equilibrium at its core. And so we're in a charged moment, but I share your hope, and I share, a belief uh, that I think people are good. I think people are mostly good. I think there's some pretty shitty ones out there, but I think that but I think there's a lot of good people working really hard to do good things in the world too. And so the thing I've changed the most in my kind of like what I'm doing for mental health care right now is really reducing my time online. And it's not to check out or be like, blind to what's going on. But I think that there's a little bit of a trick in the algorithms and in the feeding of the inflammatory information that it's not helpful to like receive it all the time. I think it's really helpful to stay informed and to stay active and to stay mobile in terms of actionable items. But the constant consuming of like 5 alarm fire
Yeah,
starts to desensitize you to it.
that's true.
Everything feels like a 5 alarm fire.
Yeah, and, like, I'll be scrolling and I'll see, like, okay, like, fun video, then it's like, "Oh, someone's getting killed," or, "Oh, like, there's, like, a right's being taken away," and it's just like, I don't think my brain is meant to process this because, like you said, we're rushing through grief, we're rushing through things, and this is how we get to, like, this chaotic, like, space, and it's like, there's moments where you just have to sit and just, like, be quiet and
Yeah.
just, like, be still for a second, and, like, I think what grief has taught me the most is, like, grief is so many things, and there's
Mhm.
so many emotions that deserve to be felt and need to be
Mhm.
felt, you know?
Mhm.
And I love that you said earlier that, like, you love your melancholy, and I love your melancholy too. Like, and I there's so many aspects of ourselves that need to be in the light for a second, need to just, like, have its time to just be, you know? And
Yeah.
we can't rush through feelings, we can't rush through, like, things that are happening right now, but we have to, like, take a moment and sit. And I know exactly what you're talking about, the equilibrium thing. Mine's
Mm.
is from Teen Wolf, I don't know if you ever watched that show, but it was called, like, regression to the mean of, like, if something's so bad, there has to be something good to balance it out in a sense.
Yeah.
I've always used that to kind of be like, sit myself down, like, it's temporary and things will
Yeah.
always go back to where they need to go. And
Yeah.
also, as humans, we are brand new to this world. Like, there we don't know what's been going on for those past thousands of years, and, like, I think we're figuring it out in real time, but,
Yeah.
like, it has to be moments where we're just able to just sit and
Yeah.
just take, this is what's important, and this is what I'm choosing to focus my energy on, because
Yeah.
we can't let all this negative stuff weigh us down because that's exactly what is the intention of it, is to desensitize us, make us feel like we're weak, make us feel like we're powerless. And no, I refuse that. I truly refuse that way of thinking. Like, I think about my grandmother and I think about my great grandmother. I think about like all the people who came before me for me to be here. And
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna be sad and scared. Like, that seems like
Yeah.
such a disservice to them and who they raised me to be. Like, that is not what I want for anybody. And so, we chose our theme this year knowing that we were gonna, like, be, like, targeted, knowing that, like, what was to come this year was gonna be scary and gonna be hard, and we said joy is gonna be, like, our act of resistance. Joy is
Love
gonna
that.
be what's gonna, like, keep us grounded, keep us connected. That's been the focus of everything we've been doing this year, and that's been, like, the question that I've been asking everyone on the show is like, "Okay, yeah, crazy things happening right now. So real.
Yeah.
But how are you making joy like a priority? How are you using joy as your fuel, as your resistance? And like, you're spreading that joy. So I asked you that question, like, how are you using your joy to like just
Oh,
take care of you?
I love that question. And I think it's so important. I am in a really sweet moment right now in my life where I'm planning my wedding. I'm marrying Joe Tippett. So we've been together for 10 years. So I've been thinking a lot about, how do we build getting married in your 40s, I think is very different than what I thought. I've never been married before. So the wedding I thought I was imagining in my 20s or something, as my life took a lot of different shapes and my career became really, I was married to my work and really happily so. Um, so then to get into a relationship that really became a deep partnership and building our family, our family connection, our dog. I've been thinking a lot about this event and what it and the ritual of getting married and bringing together a community to witness love and to the agreement is that we call in the people we love the most to lift us up and agree to be with us and support us when shit gets hard too. So th- this has been bringing me a lot of joy of really, I think it's around this idea of connection, of knowing that there's a room full of so many of the people that I love and have cultivated deep relationships with over the years, and so many of people that Joe loves, and that we get to kind of mark this moment of a hopeful endeavor, that we are just making this choice knowing that none of us know what will happen in the future, but we make this hopeful endeavor of commitment, of trust, of faith, of honesty, and of joy. And so I've been just thinking, everything from picking the tablecloths to the desserts to there's a lot of joy embedded in this idea of what if I let myself just really be happy for a second? Because it's been a long road and Joe and I have had it's been not an easy path,
Yeah.
but so worthwhile. And so much growth has happened. And I feel like Brene Brown talks about this, that joy is the most vulnerable emotion because we're so conditioned to believe that as soon as we get happy, it's going to go away, because lots of times it does, because that's what happens, is that things don't stay the same. We are in motion forever and ever. Amen. Until we're gone. And so I think that the joy of connection and focusing on bringing people together that I love, certainly at this wedding, but that's also been happening in smaller ways kind of leading up to this, just spending more time with people I love very intentionally has been a massive joy bomb for me. It's a shift. I think I've always prioritized work so much, and I am making a smaller shift to just prioritize more people that I love who feed my soul. And that has been a really good change.
No. Well, first off, congratulations. That's beautiful. I'm
Thanks.
so happy for you. I love that. The whole time you were speaking, I was thinking of the song Love's in Need of Love Today by Stevie Wonder. And just how yeah, love is such a beautiful thing and it creates such joy. And I'm so happy you're experiencing it in such a way that you're able to share it and you're able to live in it and bask in it. And you'd say you're married to your work and married to just but I feel like this is you still prioritizing you, but just prioritizing a different side of you. And
Mm-hmm.
I see that manifest. But
Yeah,
I love
thanks.
that. I love the joy that you're experiencing. I could feel it, you know?
Thanks.
Warm is great. And I'm just super grateful for you and grateful for your time. And I know you are busy. I know you got a lot of things going on, so you making time for us and just
Mm,
being here and showing up for us and continue showing up for us. It doesn't go unseen and unappreciated. We are truly so grateful. And I'm just so happy to have you on here. So thank you so
thank you,
much.
Rachel.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do. I feel really inspired and I feel just, honored to collaborate in any small way. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening. And yeah, when that album comes out, I believe it's early next year, be sure to listen to it.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you all for joining us for a very special episode of The Unfolding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. At the Loveland Foundation, we are committed to showing up for communities of color in unique and powerful ways, with a particular focus on Black women and girls. Our resources and initiatives are collaborative, and they prioritize opportunity, access, validation, and healing. Since our founding, the Therapy Fund has provided financial support for therapy to over 13,000 Black women, girls, and non-binary individuals across the country. This year, our goal is to provide free therapy to at least 6,000 more. If you'd like to join us and invest in generational change, visit our website at thelovelandfoundation.org for ways to give. To stay updated on new episodes and any future programming, follow us on Instagram and Meta, or check out our website at thelovelandfoundation.org.